if I say the word Chinese people to you, there's going to be an image that came out from your brain, and I guarantee you that image might not be the guy with a lot of muscle mass, a low body fat percentage, talkative, ambitious, handsome, you know. I think many of these words are now related to that image. And I think many people have the stereotype for Asian, for Chinese people. And I think this kind of stereotype is mainly due to the value. If you are a very high value person, if you are much stronger, much more confident, and you're willing to help the other people to move forward, and how can they not respect you? I mean, a lot of stereotypical things that towards Chinese are, I think, is not related to racism. Many people are trying to escape their responsibility by blaming the racism. There's nothing called racism. There's just a value difference. You have the lower value than the other people. If you're stronger, if you're taller, if you can provide more people than the others, who the fuck care what color do you have on your skin? So this is exactly what I want to talk about. There's three things that I hate about Chinese people. As a Chinese people myself, I've experienced a lot of things that happens around me that I think it's a huge mistake. It is something that we can really improve. All we need to do is to take the responsibility. Now, the first thing that I hate about Chinese people is that many Chinese people are afraid of stand on his own. This means that they don't have any individuality or independency, especially when they're at a younger age or in university. Many Chinese people, especially the international students, are heavily relied on the social validation. It's very normal to see a group of Chinese students in gym, in library, in shopping, or even they go to the fucking washroom together. And that is like a very normal thing that we can observe from Chinese people, including me. Chinese people are very afraid of taking the social pressure by themselves, and they have to gather around, they have to form their small little group and to handle that social pressure, and they have to find their value, self-value, by the social validation from the other people. This can also reflect on how Chinese people game the other girls. Many Chinese people that I know, how they game to the other people, how they build attraction is very lessly related to their own individual skill set. Instead, many Chinese people use the social circle, the social validation, in order to help them to build their sexual market value. And I'm not saying social circle is a bad thing, but when you spend less time on yourself, how can you build your further value in the long term? There are many examples where a group of Chinese people, usually four, go to the nightclub together, and a group of Chinese people go to to go to a restaurant and have the other girl. They like to form a very large group and complement to one another in a very large social circumstance. Now, I'm not saying that it is impossible to build attraction to gain the other girl when there's a big group, but when you really want to get result, when you really wanted to build the real attraction, depend on yourself, it is very important to handle the woman in a one-to-one date. But many of people, Chinese people that I know, don't dare to face the risk to handle the pressure on themselves. They always go in the group, they always go in the circle. Even when they game, even when they go do every little thing in your life, they have to have a company for them. So I think that is a very morbid way. You have to rely on the other people's validation all the time. If you have to have a company all the time, guess who do that? The women do that, and men don't. And also, Chinese people are weak when it on the self. There are many people that I see in the public space, especially in a social circumstance, in a classroom, or in any single social circumstance. Though I'm not saying that you should actively talk to strangers all the time. You should always be the crowd clown. I'm not talking about that. But when you're in the social circle, that it's normal to say hi to the other people, or like it's your responsibility to break the ice. Many Chinese people that I know don't dare to take that risk. They speak a hell of better English than me. They just rather sit on themselves watching the cell phone, or like 2 to 3 people form their small little group but isolate them from the crowd. I have so many examples like that, and I think that is very cringe. Many of people don't dare to break out their comfort zone, and they don't dare to take the risk of being rejected, or they don't dare to take the risk from the bad response from the other people, so they just rather sit in their small little world. I think many of them can all relate it to me. When you're taking a course, when you're taking a group project, there's always 2 to 3 Chinese guys who sit in their corner. They form their small little group, and they avoid the eye contact. They avoid to talk to the other people, and that happens all the time in my life. And the second thing that I hate about Chinese people is simp. Now, you might not notice how simp is Chinese male. Like 90% of the Chinese population, male population, is simp. I guarantee you it's fucking beta simp. Because I practicing game in Chinese for a period of time, and especially how people in Chinese game in China, or how the international Chinese student game in Canada is kind of similar, but how they actually game is in a very morbid. It's actually a very I'm not gonna say it is a very cheap way to interact with a girl. Like all they have, like the awareness that they have for sexual market is very narrow. All they care about is money and status. I'm not saying that is not important. That is a very important aspect of man's value, but they are completely ignorance about game, about the frame, maintaining a frame in front of the woman, which caused them to be to have a high value in beta phase but zero value in alpha phase. Many people that I see in my life, they're trying to ask money from their parents so that they can buy the new fancy car. Like the average Chinese student that, if they have some money, they always buy the car which is more than $15,000. That's ridiculous. Like many of them drive the luxury car that an average 30 years old man could drive, and that happens a lot in university. Most of Chinese men's thought is that once I have the money, once I have the car, and I spend enough money to you, then I will get your pussy. That's all they're thinking. They're completely ignorance of how to build attraction, how to maintain their frame, and then this narrow way of thinking had lead them to be the 100% the pure simp. And here's the two real story that happened in my life. Once I was practicing dating in China 1 year ago, and after I date the first girl, I just went to the coffee shop waiting for the second girl to date. It was 7 p.m. in the afternoon. And then after 5 minutes, the second girl came, and she told me that her male friend drove her here. And then we just started to talk. I started to game. We have very good vibe. But that male friend who drove her there was waiting in the basement for freaking 30 minutes until the girl texts him to go away. He drove the girl for free to the coffee shop to date to me, and he just wait her in the basement. That's ridiculous. And there's also one guy that I met in the first year of university. He was a hardcore blue pill beta. He was a hardcore beta, like all the romantic things, all the like the fantasies that he's the combination of all of them. And then we just stopped contacting when I go to my second year of university. And then I try to practice game in my third year, in my fourth year, and then I post some photos on my WeChat. And then he saw my photo, and immediately he was triggered so hard, he was so angry that he started to attack me. And he kept attacking me until right now. And we haven't talked for 2 years, and he just saw my post and got angry immediately and starting to attack me. He posted my screenshots in all kinds of the blue pill medias, the blue pill communities, and he posts my videos everywhere and just trying to encourage other people to say shit about me. And that's exactly how the majority of Chinese blue pill beta react when they see the alpha game, when they see the alpha approach the woman that they are dreaming about but never dare to take action. And now recently I heard my friend who also know that guy who attacked me, that my friend told me that beta ass made a girlfriend in his first year of university, and they did not have sex for freaking 3 years until now. They did not even have a sex for 3 years, and his girlfriend were spending his money, were like taking his value for free, and she did not even have that awareness of paying back. Chinese women, like, they don't even have that awareness of, your value, you're providing value to me, it is not free. I should respect your effort. If I don't like you, if I'm not interested in you, I should just refuse you directly. I should not take any of your value. They don't have that awareness at all. Many people say Chinese women are hardcore gold diggers. That is 100% true. They don't even have the concept of value exchange. They are spending they're spending beta's value, thousands of beta's value, without any feeling of guiltiness. They take that as a natural. Because I have a pussy, you all need to spend money to me, you all need to give value to me, and I don't need to provide anything. That is the interaction in China. Partially due to how simp is Chinese male, and partially due to how arrogant is Chinese women. There's also stories that my friend told me. He was in a club with a group of his friends in one of the nightclub in China, and one of the friend in his group are trying to invite a very beautiful girl into their table, and that girl just sits watching her phone with a dead cold face like a corpse. And during the whole time, that girl didn't even say a single sentence to her surroundings, except for the male friend who were trying to talk to her, and she just make a very small response, yeah. And then her face was like that cold. And then my friend was angry because, like, if you don't want any drinks, if you don't want anything from us, then leave the fuck away. And why you still sitting here and give us the attitude? If you don't want it, just go away. Because he was not a host there, so he didn't say anything, but like, what he had felt is exactly what I felt. If you refuse, just go the fuck away. But if you came here, if you join the group, be a human, be a regular person that respect everybody. And many Chinese women don't have that sense of respect. They're so arrogant that they think all the men should sing me, especially in a male combination. Like, when a girl go into a male combination, everyone is my slavery. I'm the queen. Like, that's all they care about. The third thing that I hate about Chinese people is they echo what others say. Also means that they do not have any frame in front of the other people. Like, many people, I think you all have the similar experience. Many people are so obey that they don't even dare to speak against the other people. Many Chinese people are like, yeah, they're nodding, they're like, like they're having an orgasm, like, when they're facing the higher power, when they're facing the higher hierarchy in society, when they're facing the people who are potentially providing the value to them, like, they lose all of their frame. Also in male and female frame. I'm talking about dating, I'm talking about how the men talk to the women. Like, many men in the gym, especially in the gym, when they meet a hot girl, when they're meet a hot girl that they know in the gym, they all of a sudden stop all their manuals, they stop all their training, and all they do is just spotting that hot girl, for like 1 hour, and waiting for the hot girl to leave the gym, and they went back to their own routine. And many of my friends saw that too. They don't even treat themselves as a human when they're in front of the woman. And that's exactly how Chinese men don't have zero frame, don't have zero tension, don't have like zero attraction towards the other girl. Like, many people mention Chinese guy is like boring, it's like no attraction, because they made themselves to be that. They do not have any frame, they do not have the gut to stand in front of people to express their personality, and that is going to eventually result them in that place. The Chinese men think that what women say is a truth. It's the message from heaven that guide them how to live, and they just follow exactly what women say. So this thing is going to cause the sexual market in China more and more polarized, and women's hypergamy is higher and higher because the rest of men acting like they're in a lower hierarchy, and that is exactly going to cause this market to go worse and worse. So as a fellow Chinese person, if you've seen this video, and don't be that jerk, treat yourself like a human, treat yourself like an ambitious person who have missions to conquer, who have important things to do in your life, and don't get obsessed with a pussy anymore. That is not how sexual market work, and you should treat yourself as a man.